In the clip about popular malware attacks, you saw what kind of damage can be reached there. And for that reason, I hope you are very much motivated to look to protective measures against malware attacks. And let's start with a very simple looking but very important protective measure that are regular backups. You remember ransomware, other malware attacks on the internet, they have the idea to take your data, to make your data unusable, to damage your data. And for example, with a ransomware, the idea was to encrypt the data so that users cannot work with his own data. So if data is lost due to viruses or ransomware or operating system damage, data can be restored from previously created backup copies. And this is exactly the idea. Regularly store all your data in a so-called backup. And if something happened, then one can restore the data from this backup and can clean the infiltrated system. So important and personal data must therefore be secured on a regular basis, not once a year. You should find your reason for doing this, because when you restore your data from a backup, you come back to the situation and to the data that were actual when the backup was done. Modern systems offer automatic data backup services in predefined time intervals, so you can configure this, but it's very important that the backup is not saved on your computer. It's very important to save the backup on external media. Reason is simple: when your computer is infected, then also the backup is infected. There is an important hint that also the external media should be physically separate from the computer. So not connected only to the computer when you produce a backup or when you restore data out of the backup. Otherwise, disconnect your external media from the computer. Reason is, if an attacker is able, by means of a malware attack, to completely take over your computer, your system, then there is no way to get access to the backup. So regular backup is an important hint. The backup can be done on an external storage, for example, in your home, but data can also be stored online, for example, in a cloud. This requires secure control of access to the personal data. So you have to think about this. The backup should be encrypted before storing it online, so that also the provider of this cloud, of the storage cloud, are not able, or anyone who has access to the cloud is not able to get inside in your data. Also here, you should not keep a permanent connection to the online backup media when local chains are directly transferred to the online store. So do not have this continuously, because otherwise also malware attacks on your computer could also infiltrate your data in the cloud. Then one has to save different versions which allow to undoing specific changes if necessary. So think which kind of data you should update in which time, which part of the system should be updated, which parts are connected or not. When we speak about updates of data, we have also to speak about updates of programs. The idea of updating data is to be sure that an attacker is not able to steal or damage your data. If he or she is doing this, you can data restore. With the program updates, There is another idea. The program updates are used to resolve known vulnerabilities. Vulnerabilities in the software, in the program, which allow the attacker to attack your system. If you remember all the attacks we discussed, then in most cases, vulnerabilities of the system, of special parts of the systems, are exploited by the user, by the attackers. So to make this impossible or to make this difficult, one should update program on a regular basis. One should use software versions. If one works with older, not updated software versions, then there is a high risk that this software has public known vulnerabilities. So as soon as a vulnerability becomes public, the vendors, the software vendors, produce an update which closes, which repairs and closes vulnerability, so that's no more possible for an attacker to misuse, to exploit this vulnerability. So when you update the program, then this type of vulnerability can no more misused by the attacker. That means close this attack points as soon as possible. That means always perform updates as soon as they become available. So the vendors do not find all breaches during the test phase of the system. So many vulnerabilities in programs are discovered later and are discovered by users or others, and then they are published. They are published, for example, by external security experts, by known attacks. If one analyzes an attack and sees, oh, here is a vulnerability that could be misused by the attackers, then the vendors produce such an update. So known security breaches can usually be closed by small update packages, by short hotfixes. These are a very early reaction to get security, and then from time to time you get such update packages. For example, for an operating system, you can configure that the operating system is automatically updated as soon as such an update is available. This is also possible with modern programs, which often automatically inform when such a new update is published. And this should be seen as a reminder to update the program. In addition, there are applications that automatically look for updates for the installed software to give the user a hint as soon as an update of one of the software is available, which is installed on the system of the computer. Also, some antivirus programs check whether the installed software is up to date or whether there is an update available. But what needs to be clear, but with all updates, the following applies. It's essential to verify that the updates come from a trustworthy source, that it's not an update which is sent by an attacker to get malware loaded on your system. If you are not looking whether the update comes from a trustworthy party, then the updates themselves can become the source of a new attack and can be enable the installation of malware, which later on can be misused by the attackers. Virus scanners, a special form of antivirus software. Virus scanners and antivirus software provide methods for detecting malware. That's not only for detecting viruses. The virus scanners can also detect worms, Trojans, spyware, and other malicious software. Therefore, this product should be better called anti-malware software instead of virus scanners or antivirus software, because then people think it's only to detect virus malware. Some of the anti-malware software also monitor internet connections and warn the user against unsafe websites. Nowadays, a compulsory element of internet-connected systems and are integrated into them. So to run antivirus software on a system is a must. Anti-malware software is based on two different detection methods. The one detection methods are so-called signatures. And the idea behind this is that signatures are obtained when the malware is analyzed. And then the analyzing researchers are looking for very special characteristics of exactly that malware. Characteristics that can be used to recognize this special type of malware. And then later, if having detected, then the files are checked for such kind of characteristics, and accordingly they are classified as infected or not infected. So signatures are very typical characteristics of a malware type. Of course, such a software needs to investigate the system for many types of signatures, for the many types and sorts of malware by means of the signatures. The other way to detect malware attack is to analyze the benign state of a system, and then later on constantly compare the running system against this normal status. And if there is a strong deviation from the normal status, then a warning is sent to the user. So signatures, here one needs to know the signature-based method for finding out whether there is malware on the system needs that the malware was already known before, because the characteristics are taken out of the malware. In case of anomalies, this helps the user also to detect attacks, malware attacks, and attacks that have some impact on your system, which let it work in a different way as usually. So in case of anomaly detection, it's not need to know the attack method in advance. So unknown malware can be detected by means of such anomaly-based methods. But on the other side, they are often less accurate than the signature. So modern antivirus systems use both two methods for their work. Anti-malware software needs also to be kept up to date. Also continuously updating antivirus software is important to get the latest virus definitions, to get the latest signatures of malware, to let the system be able also to detect new viruses and new malware. Ideally, all data sources must be searched for viruses, hard disk, removable media, CD, USB sticks, network connections, and others. So most virus scanner automatically block and prevent installation of malware. They remove malware, but if viruses are found more frequently, then a manual investigation of the reason is important to find on which way, for example, in which way malware is able to infiltrate the system. So if users run recent antivirus software, recent anti-malware software, then there is a good level of protecting their system. So the infected systems tend to be slower, unsafe, or to drop out completely. Therefore, the virus, the malware warnings should be taken seriously, and the problem should be resolved as quickly as possible, not infecting other partners in the communication or other sources on their own computer system. Firewall. And firewalls are an important component for securing the internet access of a computer. So firewalls monitor all incoming and all outgoing network connections and all the data that pass through them, the data that pass from the internet to the system, and the system which data that are sent from the system to outside. So firewalls can prevent, for that reason, unauthorized connections and unauthorized connection attempts. So firewalls provide an additional protection against attacks, attacks such as backdoors or botnets, which are characterized that they need a connection to an outside party. In case of botnets, to a command and control server. In case of backdoors, the attacker comes from time to time to make something with own system, and coming to the system, connecting from the internet to the system. This is the situation where firewalls can detect this kind of connection. So each attack will create a connection to the attacker, or will connect the connection from the attacker that has not been approved by the user, and such connections that are not been approved by the user can be detected or can be even blocked by firewalls. So such type of connection need to be prevented, at least completely, automatically, or at least an alarm should be triggered. So a local firewall acts only on the system on which it is installed. Here in this week we provide an excursion and also to speak more about firewalls and the ideas how they work, and also about such personal firewalls, such local firewalls. Besides of the local firewalls, there are also so-called network firewalls, and in the network firewalls they check all network traffic, and usually these network firewalls are installed on connection nodes between the local network and the internet, for example in routers. The function of a firewall is controlled by so-called rules. And the rules define which connections are allowed and which connections are not. The rules can be formulated specifically for the individual applications, for the protocols that are used, the ports and the addresses, and they define exactly what is permitted and what is not permitted for that particular computer. Then, when the traffic comes in form of network packages, then the packages are checked and compared against the rules, and if a rule apply in a network package, then action can be triggered. For example, a data package can be modified. Data package can be completely blocked. A warning could be displayed. This is what exactly can be described by means such rules. So rules are checking all the in and outgoing network packages, and then certain actions can be done. For example, if one sees a special type of address or a special type of protocol or port, any such information can trigger a rule. In case of Windows systems, the Windows firewall is active by default. So if you run such a system, the firewall is running. One can add additional routes, but here kind of knowledge is needed. If we look to GNU or Linux systems, they also provide a firewall. For example, IP tables is such a firewall. When we speak about protection measures, then it's not only technical systems and procedures we have to take into account. We can also prevent a lot of attacks by a healthy mistrust. A healthy mistrust is the most effective protection against malware infection. The best warning and protection mechanisms are invalid if the user still opens an untrustworthy connect, if a user gets a mail, and if there is from a certain kind of source, and if there is an attachment, an image or a game or a text or document or someone else, and if one opens this attachment, then the typical situation is that malware could be installed. So if something is sent from an unknown, from an untrustworthy content, definitely do not open attachment. When installing new software, check the manufacturer and the origin of that software. If you install, for example, hidden in a game or hidden in some other fancy software, if you install the software in your computer, and you are not sure that it comes from the right manufacturer, then there is a great chance to install malware on your computer. So one has to verify the signature. Software is signed so that one can check the manufacturer, the origin of the software. One should when one makes updates for installed software, then also one has to check the signature and the origin of that software. In case of warning, a manual verification is required. So find out what is the source, what is the claimed source, and what is the real source of such a system. Only install software that you really need. With every software, this is particularly true for mobile devices. With any app, with any software you install and which you are not need, there is a chance that vulnerability of that software can be misused to attack your system, to infiltrate malware. So unnecessary applications on your laptop, on your smartphone, on your pad, unnecessary add-ons and additional features, optional plugins. They provide unnecessary attack vectors for attackers, so you should be sure that you delete this and deinstall the software. When we speak about healthy mistrust, also it's important to switch off active content. For example, Flash, Java, ActiveX in the web browser, since these systems offer various vulnerabilities, various attack and break-in options. Cookies. You should use cookies only for trusted page, not that someone is able to check your, to miss your cookies for an untrusted page. Then only open email attachments when you are sure, when you know the sender and when you are sure that it's not faked, that it comes really from the sender. If you should open if the text can be assigned to the sender. If it has something to do with usually you get and receive from that sender. Then open attachment only when you expect that someone is sending you an email with an attachment. Keep calm when faced with online warnings and calls for payment of fines. It's sometimes a trick to warn you about something and to trigger you to do some action which at the end costs you money. We spoke about this in the second week of our course. Then check the installed software and remove any software that's not used, remove any functionality that's not needed, and each unnecessary plugins, simply to prevent that weaknesses, that vulnerabilities in that programs, in that systems can be misused by attackers to attack your system.